Ah, who can do the reading?
I can do for some time, sir, but then I have to.
Yeah. Bala ma'am will join.
Okay.
She said she will join in 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah,
Already
till
7
then.
minutes is over, so 8 minutes left.
Okay. Okay. I'll start.
Hmm.
23 habits, customs, and fashions are psychic destiny. The habits, customs, and fashions of an individual and of a people are psychic destiny. They depend on the bend of feeling and desire. The thought connected with the desire gives them the astral form in which they are then expressed as fashions and customs. Personal habits may be attributes at birth. In such case, they were transferred to the astral body in its formation and manifest later in life. If they are acquired during life, the breath form was impressed by a thought along a certain line, and this then finds went through some organ of the body.
Okay. Now, here it's a very interesting paradigm. See, when we leave this body, we say at the upper manas, at the causal stage, right? There is a separation between the patterns that you have completed, which becomes wisdom. And then you have patterns which are not yet complete, which becomes part of your 35 lessons that you have to complete. And the ones where you have made mistakes. So these you are going to select. And how are you going to select? All these are going to be left in the astral domain, the astral body that we have. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, right? Annamaya, Pranamaya, a portion of Pranamaya and a portion of lower Manas, the Manomaya, is going to be the one where that impression is going to stay. Right? And when we take this new body, that impression will start influencing our desire, our light as it is traversing into reality. That means as you realize it. So if that is what is happening very clearly, it means that what we have done till now is going to be superimposed at a given point in time. Are you able to visualize that? So what is happening? From the left kidney, the signal is going, the desire is rising up, coming up to the Anahata Chakra. At the Anahata Chakra, it is getting validated for rightness and reason. Right? From rightness and reason, it is going into the astral body, the mental body, the noetic plane. So the particles that are there, particles of light, that is coming as light into the mental body. That means the thoughts have become an idea. And those ideas are now getting shaped. Where is the shaping happening? Where is that shaping happening? In your astral body. Right? The form plane is in the astral body. Astral body is your psychic. Right? So that is how it is coming down into reality. Right? So let's go further. A habit.
A habit is an elemental. The elemental finding an opportunity to become a sensation continues as habit, often against the person's wish. Instances are blinking the eyelids, twisting the mouth, raising the eyebrows, clearing the throat. Other instances are certain case of stammering, whistling without intent, touching gate posts, or stepping on certain parts of the pavement, clenching the, the hands, spreading the fingers, wabbling the knees, all all these habits, when against the wish of the person, are elementals taking possessions of the part in question. Offensive or peculiar habits are mannerisms. Or mannerisms are the reflex actions of like offensive or peculiar feelings or desires given form by thought.
So this is how a habit is getting formed. Very nice, right?
Yeah.
So elemental has a desire to get sensed or sensation for this body to experience. And that is where all these transformations are taking place. But again, look at it. Offensive or peculiar habits are mannerisms which happen to be the reflex action of offensive or peculiar feelings, desires given form by the thought. Again, the thought is required to give shape to any activity. When it comes to shape, even the energy to act on it is one form of a shape. Let's go further.
Yeah. However, trifling a habit may seem it is the outcome of one's thinking, which permits an elemental to become a habit. It is psychic destiny, extraordinarized,
No, exteriorized.
exteriorized onto the
A physical
physical
plane.
plane.
That means you are projecting it.
Mm.
A psychic thought is getting projected. Yeah.
Exteriorized on the physical plane. The fashions of dress, superficial manners, furniture, songs, dances, and slang phrases, which appear and change and reappear, are caused by the effort of thinking to give expression to varying emotions. So, these are extremes of fashion, from a clinging gown to a balloon like dress, from flowing folds to a tight fitting garment, or headgear wearing from a close cap to a structure of a great width or height.
Let's continue.
Okay, sir. A style can no longer remain permanently in fashion. Then there can be a permanent emotion. Sentiments and emotions change, and their changes are expressed in fashions.
So this is plain simple but beautifully explained. Pala ma'am, you want to take over?
Yeah, it's fine.
So we have just completed point number 23. We are moving on to 24. Thank you, Kirti, for helping us.
Gambling, drinking, gambling, drinking, the spirit of alcohol. So far, space has been given to form destiny, that is, that which affects the astral body and senses, and to two classes of strictly psychic destiny, those which relate to feeling through the physical body and to feeling by the doer directly. So
But
those
there are
which
two.
relate to the feeling through the physical body and to feeling the doer directly. So with the alcohol, drinking, gambling, it affects. The third class of psychic destiny
Look at
relates
this.
to
No,
traits.
ma'am, 1 minute. Here, very interesting. So far, space has been given to form destiny, the form, right? That means the shape.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
is
Yes.
that which affects the astral body and the senses. So there are two components that are acting. And to two classes, strictly psychic destiny. They are not yet in the physical destiny, but they are in the astral domain, which is the psychic destiny. They are part of the emotions, right? So they relate to feeling through the physical body and feeling through the doer directly. I mean, there are two components that are influencing the outcome.
So
One
the two components are emotions and
see, one is the physical body. So
yes,
the
the
body
other one
mind,
is
the body mind. And then
yes,
your emotion mind also is going to influence. That means the soul.
yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional body is the soul.
Yeah, that is the one that is feeling it, right?
The one of the layers of the
Correct.
yeah.
So one is the physical body that is feeling it, the other one is the soul body.
Yeah. Yeah. The third class of psychic destiny, which relates to traits, qualities, and endowments of the doer, and to force the feelings like anger, lust, sympathy, and sorrow. The third class of psychic destiny.
So
It
these
relates.
become, no, see, please read this from a perspective that what is shaping us is by virtue of all these parameters. See, earlier in the earlier section, he spoke about habit, customs, right? Habit, customs, and fashions as influencers in the psychic destiny. Correct? Because whatever impressions that have been left behind in a given life are going to be the patterns that we have to take in the coming life.
Yes.
Appropriate desire will get triggered in the adrenals, right? From the adrenal, it comes back to the anahata. In the anahata, it will get separated into feeling and desire.
Rightness and reason, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Rightness
and reason, right? Sorry, you're right. Rightness and reason, and then it will get released into nature to draw the light in that particular world. It goes to the mental world where the ideas become, I mean, thoughts become an idea. That idea has to take a shape. Now, which is the form plane? Is the astral plane or the psychic destiny? Right? So, if you close your eyes, you should be able to experience what is really happening. The interaction between the physical body, the interaction between the subtle bodies, and subtle bodies broken down into light, thoughts,
Yeah.
things, When I say feelings, it is all the feeling tones, everything, the color, the shape, and all that. So those are shaped by your customs, your habits, which are, and your fashions. Right? Now, he is coming to the next level in its manifestation.
So basically, the aura is the colors of aura is affected by all this.
Yeah. What is aura? It is that particular sheath vibrating in that particular manner.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And as the vibration slows down, it will take physical shape.
Mm.
As the vibration increases, it will get dispersed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
After the unit has left nature and it becomes a triune self, it has three parts: the doer, thinker, and the knower. So here when he explains these three psychic destinies, so as you explained, it goes into the nature, and then after the unit has left the nature and becomes a triune self. Oh, from the nature, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it progresses in the yeah. The doer may use from 1 to 3 minds. The doer has good and bad desires. It depends upon the makeup of the human, which of these it will identify with itself and manifest. So it depends upon the makeup of the human, which of these it will identify. So depending upon which good or bad desires which it identifies, it will identify with itself and manifest.
See, they may use 1 to 3 minds, either all of them or some of them. Which are the 3 minds? The knower, the
Feeling,
thinker, the doer.
feeling, desire, body.
No. The triune self
The
has
doer.
got knower, thinker, doer.
Yes.
Each of
those
them
3
has
minds.
a mind.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And that mind has got 2 components. Each of them has got 2 components.
Yes.
Rightness, reason, then you have identity and knowledge. Then you have got feeling, desire. Correct. All of these are encased in a body. Right? That body also has got a mind. That is how you have 7 minds.
Yeah. 7 minds. But here he is saying 1 to 3
All
minds.
the 3. So knower, thinker, doer. You are not breaking it down.
Oh, got it. So it depends upon the makeup of the human, which of these it will identify with itself and it manifest.
And also, while you are reading, have that picture. Knower, thinker, doer. They are coming in contact with this body directly or indirectly. Right? And passing through your nervous system and the axiatonal lines. 5th dimension to the 3rd dimension.
It all depends upon which way it is involuntary or voluntary.
No, that's what I said. So the nervous system is of 2 kinds.
Yes.
Sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Yes.
Voluntary and the involuntary.
Yeah.
Through them, these elementals are passing through. Which elementals? Which we read in the previous para. Habits are elementals. How they become a habit spiritually. Right? This is amazing. I don't know why we did not feel all this, we did not understand all this when we read it the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's continue.
Okay, manifested, they are expressions of the desire or feeling of the doer. Once they manifested, they are expressions of the desires or feelings of
I
the
think, no,
doer.
no, one sec. This line we need to read. Either if you have
Oh, yeah,
read, once again, yeah.
Yeah, it depends upon the makeup of the human, which of these it will identify with itself and manifest.
So now if you try to rebuild, from this sentence, if you try to rebuild the human body, the thoughts that are generated by the feeling and desire can be dominated by any one of the minds. The minds make it good or bad,
Mm.
right? So, whichever is the dominating one, he will push through the manifestation. Yeah,
So manifested, they are the expressions of the desires or feelings of the doer.
correct.
One question
Among
here,
the desires,
Yeah.
whichever is the dominant means like in the three minds you're talking about?
Yeah, the three minds are represented by three characteristics, right? I mean, two characteristics each.
Hmm.
And then the doer is doer in the triune self and doer in the body.
Doer in the triune. Oh, yeah, yes, yeah.
Right? So in the triune self, he is feeling and desire.
Yeah.
In the body, it becomes your belief system.
Yes.
Right? So there is one new component, the belief system, the past experience, all that, the memory. Right? That is body mind. That will also play a role. Whichever one is dominating will influence the ultimate outcome. Ultimate outcome is the manifestation. Are you able to see that picture? Always think in terms of cooking the dish. And all
You're talking about the body mind of the doer.
correct. The doer, the doer itself is, there are two components of the doer, right?
Yeah,
One
I
is
understand. The
coming from
triune
the
self
triune
doer
self.
is okay. The 12th portion of the doer we're talking about. But even in the 12th portion of doer also we have the three minds, where the two thinker and what's the other one? Triune self. The other two components of the triune self, which exist outside of the body, still are influencing. So my question here is, which one is dominant? Like among those three,
You don't know
I'm
which one.
assuming
Conscious
the
mind,
body mind
subconscious.
of the doer part.
See, it depends. You want to, for example, let us say I ask Bala ma'am for bribe. Okay. I ask Bala ma'am for bribe when she approaches me to get some assistance.
Yeah.
My body knows, my feeling, my Anahata Chakra knows the rightness and reason. But I am dominated by the body desire for making money. Am I taking the righteous path? I am not. So who is influencing me to deviate from the righteous path?
That's what I'm trying to say, even because the body mind of the doer.
Correct, but then the doer in the body.
In the body, yes.
Yes.
The 12th portion of the doer, that's what I meant to say.
So that is, if that is dominating, you will not care anything for your customs, your beliefs and all. That becomes the dominating part of the desire in the body. The body mind will take the dominating characteristic.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Right. Let's go further.
So that's why, yeah, it all depends upon which one it dominates. That's why he
Correct.
said the doer has bad desires.
Right.
So among the desires that violate a duty to oneself are greed, lust, gluttony, and sloth, anger, hatred, cruelty, and revenge break a duty to another. So these are
in other words, this becomes the Arshad Vargas.
Yeah.
These are the
Correct. Yeah. These are primary and crude evidences of desire and are animal in their nature.
exactly. So that is why he calls it the passions. Because
Hmm.
passions belong to the animals.
Animal
Passion
nature.
belongs to the animal nature. Correct.
So good expressions relate to control of one's own body and also relate to others as as fellow feelings, helpfulness, and good nature. As the doer develops, the natural expressions of its feelings and desire change from bad to good or from good to bad. So as the doer develops to higher essence, so he's saying the natural
As his
expressions
consciousness improves, as he rises
improves. Yes.
up on the lessons completed,
From it, they change from bad to good
or good
and
to
from
bad.
so from good to bad. Yeah. The light which is in the mental atmosphere mixing with the natural desires adds foresight, comparison, planning, combining, inventing, and refining. So the light which is in the mental atmosphere mixes with the natural desires.
Now, what is light in the mental atmosphere? Mental atmosphere is where the thoughts are getting formed. Thoughts align to the signals that it is receiving. So that which is aligning, that which is becoming a thought, transformed into an idea, that chain is what he is referring to here. The thought, the light, which is in the mental atmosphere, mixing with natural desires, and adds foresight, comparison, planning. All these are individual streams of ideas. And these are all individual thoughts which are going to come together to become the idea, which will then have a shape and all that in the next atmosphere.
Okay. Right thinking improves the crude desires such as malice, cruelty, avarice, I don't know what
Avarice
it
is
is.
greed. Avarice.
Greed.
Yeah.
Okay. And envy, which are immoral, towards another, and gluttony, gambling, drunkenness, and lavishness, which wrong oneself.
Mm.
So these are all when they become dominate, it becomes they are wrong to oneself. The virtues are courage, temperance, and chastity, and are essentially restraints of selfish indulgences in vices and mastery of temptation.
So this is one of the lessons. Mm.
So the virtues are the courage to have that control of temptation.
Mm.
In addition to these active desires, there are states of the doer as joyousness, ease, trust, cheerfulness, and hope. And on the other hand, gloom, pessimism, fear, and despair.
Correct. So, I mean, these are the two active desires that will act on us. Okay. So, I think, Kirti, we have a lot to talk when we talk about true desires and the lack of them. In your unified, now when you talk in the next module, we will have a lot to apply.
Okay, sir.
Basically, the selfish motives and Arshad were related are not the right to desires.
Maybe
Not the true.
you should add it to the Spanish module that is undergoing now. Yeah. All
All
the
these, all these forces which are sent out towards the others are centered on oneself, as well as these states or attitudes of the doer appear in cycles because they are guided by thoughts. So they appear in cycles means, what does he mean?
your thoughts are changing, right?
Hmm.
So they will form that. Those are the cyclic patterns. Yeah.
Patterns, okay. Yeah. These
The other way
desires
to
are
read this is they appear as waves,
Oh, okay.
which is patterns again, frequency.
These desires or states begin feebly, increase, wane, and disappear periodically. They begin feebly, that means lightly. I mean, they increase and wane
They
and
start as
disappear.
a desire, then rightness or reason will superimpose itself on it and either kill it or empower it further.
The ill will as well as the good will sent out returns to the sender in a double way.
How?
One the psychic force sent out by a human does not leave his own psychic atmosphere, reverts to him and acts on him much as he would have it act on others. So he's saying it doesn't.
Now this is where it could potentially become a disease.
Potentially becomes a disease?
Yeah, because see, what is he saying? Or the cure. See, how you think it will be in my own atmosphere. What is my atmosphere? My aura.
So it comes back and reverts to him and acts on him. That means on the physical body.
Exactly.
When we disagree with the other's opinion, so we're trying to be like, if it's a ill will, we try to say like make comments on the other person.
See, what will happen
don't agree.
when it is become a ill will? It is negative energy.
Yeah.
That energy again goes through that Joe Dispenza circle.
Yeah, molecule, atom, molecule,
Yeah, exactly.
macromolecule.
So that will again act on us only. So this
basically,
yeah.
He's saying whatever if you think ill towards others, it centers on one.
Correct.
So whatever it goes out.
That becomes the raw material. See, let us say you are cooking a dish, but you are foul mood. Where is that energy going?
Into the dish.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So the same thing.
Correct. Yeah. Wow. So one phase of the psychic force sent out by a human does not leave his own psychic atmosphere. It reverts to him and acts on him much as he would have it act on others.
Then the
force
second
sent out.
Yeah.
The force sent out is of course connected with a thought, and that thought is later exteriorized into physical actions and physical actions and events. And from these exteriorizations, they follow psychic results of joy or sorrow to the one who issued the thought.
See, this is the second part. One, it will impact others, but it will also impact you.
So later he says the thought is later.
How does it impact others? It's only like if they allow that, right? Say if I'm thinking about somebody in a ill manner.
See, as an energy, it will come and hit you.
Exactly. I'm saying
Correct.
yes.
It will hit you. Whether you are reacting and responding is the next part, but it will come and impact you.
Yes, reacting means
what is happening? It is coming and impacting you, but your rightness, your reason, your enlightenment, they are either letting that action take place or disabling that action. So that has gone into another routine.
Yes, but the external persons.
Correct.
external person's, the ability to,
Exactly.
think
But it is coming and hitting you.
yes. And the
And
other
so-
part is like the double way, because when we start sending, whether it is a good or bad, the sender, it returns to the sender in a double fold.
Yes.
It's like multiple
Yes.
of that. That's more.
Now,
Even blame,
how do you understand in spiritual tablets? GK sir says, when you do something, you will get twice that.
Yes.
Now you understand how?
double effect. Yeah. And so the same thing applies for the blaming. If something happens to this person, if the person blames others,
And
it's same way.
how this is
Good or
how,
bad, either one.
yeah. And this is how the law of attraction also works.
Yes, of course.
So that is why if they show gratitude, it will happen, good things happen to this person.
Correct.
But if they blame,
No,
the
no.
negative,
Things happen in this, the good energies go into him. But when it comes to action, when you act on something, right? Let us say it is you have gone and serviced someone. Your portion comes back to you anyway. But he is also sending you positive vibes.
when he's happy, yeah, when he feels grateful. Correct.
So think about the influence this can have when it comes to manifestation. That is why they say, don't communicate what you want or your desire.
You mean selfish motive desires.
Exactly. Otherwise, the other fellow will start sending negative vibes so that, and he has got more power in his thought, then you will get influenced.
Excuse me, sir. Please repeat that. Don't communicate.
See, I will do this, I will do that. Don't keep communicating that. Become Mr. Modi.
Oh,
See, how he is going to respond, everyone is guessing. Trump has imposed tariffs. Has Modi opened his mouth on it? He has not. He has not communicated except to the people who have to act on it.
Because the thing is, there are more negative effects will be there once he opens. There are so many different opinions.
Right? So, again, when you are communicating, let it be targeted. You are getting the point, Ramakrishna.
yeah. But no. But with no. But with us, where your sphere of communication is your office colleagues, your family members.
There
You suggesting
also, what you communicate is only what is necessary, what is right, yes, what is acceptable. Because you don't want a negative energies influencing the outcome of what you have got. Because when I come and tell you, don't do it this way, Ramakrishna Garu, immediately you will start thinking, why did Chandra say?
okay.
So you will start entertaining that statement, right?
Okay.
See, always whatever we say, that's why Patri
This
used
is
to
a
say,
flow
put
diagram.
it,
Are you getting
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Whole
yeah.
thing
Yeah.
is a flow diagram.
Yeah, I know.
see, if you do not know how to put it in a positive, just keep quiet.
Correct.
Instead of putting energy into the outside. Yeah. The force sent out is of course connected with a thought, and that thought is later exteriorized into a physical actions and events. And from these exteriorizations follow psychic results of joy or sorrow to the one who issued the thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So also, sir, and I want to mention this. See, in the communications, right? Every person evaluates, is there any benefit to the other person? Okay. In that, like for example, I'll give you an example. Say I tell you that I'm going to buy a Honda car. Now you tell me that, hey, don't buy Honda, buy Toyota because it has more safety records. Now you are not going to get a penny whether I buy Honda or Toyota. But I will immediately start attaching a value to your judgment that you recommended Toyota to me. And
Correct.
okay,
But
yeah, so this happens in all
but
communications.
what if I don't know anything about Toyota?
Agreed, but I have taken that for granted that you know something about it.
That is where starts the problem.
Uh,
What is happening to your rightness, reason, wisdom, etc.? I
Yeah.
have told you,
yeah,
it is just like Ratna's question.
yes,
Your wisdom, right?
yeah,
Your clarity, your information, your data, all that is sitting in your plane.
yes,
You have not attracted any of those. You have
Yeah.
attracted what I have given.
yes,
Depending on the data, you need to think
You need to
rightness and
convert it to information, right?
yes,
The
yeah,
data is the first leg.
yeah,
That data, when you find an applicable scenario, it becomes information. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's data, correct?
yeah, right.
So that process is what he is trying to highlight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Balaman, sorry. I'm talking.
besides these two effects,
Correct.
besides two effects, which results in joy or sorrow, sooner or later there is a third one. This is that the psychic force which he sends out is identified with him, builds up his character, and helps to make the ground from which his further desire rise.
So that becomes
depending
his
upon,
learning. That becomes his learning effectively.
so he's saying besides these two effects of joy or sorrow, the third one, which is his character, it builds his character. This is the psychic force which he sends out, is identified with him, builds up his character, and helps to make the ground from which his future desire rises.
So that becomes his custom, no? It becomes his custom, it becomes his habit, and so on.
Correct. Character is a predisposition for like desires, and that desires generate like thoughts. Character is impressed upon the AIA. So the desire generates thoughts. Similar. So depending upon what
This is how
desires
it
he has,
becomes a cycle.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
When the breath form is built up again, it has the impress of the character. That formation, that pattern it forms. When the breath form is built up again, that impresses the character. This is the reason why people have their characters when they come into life, and why unexpected traits appear in later life when time, condition, and place bring them out.
Even the hidden impression comes out when these three match.
So it forms impressed upon the AIA. So that
it
comes
is
back
already sitting in the AIA.
Yes. Through the breath form, it forms the pattern. Hence comes the predisposition to oppression, theft, malice, gambling, and drunkenness, and to helpfulness, fellow feeling, courage, loyalty, and chastity. Either negative or positive traits.
Correct. These become the habit.
Negative or
These
positive
become
habits.
his belief system. These become his orientation towards a particular thought or line of thought.
So these are all the predisposition of these habits or the thoughts.
These become the habits which are the predispositions.
Correct. Yeah.
The cyclic pattern that by cyclically acting on the same thing again and again, that becomes the impression on the AIA. And that becomes eventually the predisposition.
So then they exhibit these either their bad habits or good habits.
No, it can be both.
Yeah. By way of examples of the vices of gambling and drunkenness and the psychic states of gloom, pessimism, malice, fear, and despair, despair will be considered in some detail, as will also the state of hope, joyousness, trust, and ease. So basically, even though they have these, but
Hmm.
fear and despair will be considered in some detail, as will also the state of hope. So here, because of that wills of the state of hope, joyousness, trust, and ease, depending upon which one dominates.
So see, depending upon which is his predisposition. See, you have created that impression becomes the cloud into which you are going to let the manifestation take place. All the energies that you are going to give that thought is going to be in line with this feeling tone.
One who gambles desires the money at stake, which will, the wisp-like leads him on and is intoxicated by the chance of gain.
Correct.
So that means like when he gets addicted, it is like addiction.
That is what intoxication is addiction. No? Intoxicated by the chance of gain, easy money, whatever is the takeaway.
Yeah. The money is the chief object with a gambler, while a sport seeks to win, to excel, money being secondary. Sport refers games
So
of skill.
both are examples. See,
Yes,
the desire to excel is one.
correct.
Right? When
Yes,
applied to money, it becomes
in terms of games, if he becomes secondary, the money, but the fame.
correct.
Yeah, that's the
So
primary.
either
A
money
sport
is primary or money is secondary, then it is the desire to excel. Yeah.
A sport prefers games of skill, a gambler games of chance. Yeah. Be the gambling with the dice or cards, betting on races, speculating in stocks or any venture without engaging in industry, it is all of psychic nature. One who plays horses, cards, or the stock market will be played by these in turn. His sensations will be varied by gain and loss, exultation and disappointment, but the result must be eventually that he will be deluded with the idea of getting something for nothing. He will be taught that no one can get something for nothing. That willingly or unwillingly, all that men get, they must pay for in some way, and that taking a risk of losing is not paying. Force of circumstances will compel the gambler to lose his gains. What he wins today, he will lose tomorrow. Be the tomorrow after a day or after many days. So this is what happens.
Tomorrow could come at any particular time. It is not just tomorrow. It can come even later.
In the future. Winning or losing will goad him on to win again, and so deluded he turns the treadmill until he learns that the belief that he can get something for nothing is a delusion. Yes, he is in the delusion.
This becomes the lesson that he has to learn. And this becomes a lesson that he will learn.
He is driven on until he learns his lessons fully. If he has learned, circumstances will, though unnoticed, surely change and lead him into fields of honest effort. Eventually, he will learn his lessons and leads him to honest effort. Some of the most despicable gambling is that of in foodstuffs and other necessaries. The interference of the gamblers makes the cost of staples unsteady and often deprives producers of their just rewards.
Hmm.
Such interferences with the necessaries of physical life is the cause of hunger, want, and misery for many. But something selling for very high prices,
Correct.
buying at a cheap. The food gambler is an enemy of mankind. He takes no part in the actual production or distribution of the foods in which he gambles. Moreover, he breeds in others the psychic diseases of gambling, and by his example causes them also to be intoxicated. To
Hmm.
cure him of the psychic disease of gambling, the food gambler will suffer the hunger and want which his speculations have caused to others. So whatever he caused to others, he has to face it.
Hmm.
He may starve because of actual lack or because of some disease. Food gambling and all other gambling is due to the spirit of gambling present among mankind.
Okay, in this example, right? Just close your eyes and try to go through the affirmations that you make. Before that, there are energies where you might have affected people which are sitting in your AIA, so you seek forgiveness. Correct? In the affirmations that you are going to give, you start with seeking forgiveness, then you try to cleanse, then you try to apply. Do you see all those patterns come while you are reading this? When you sit in meditation, that's what you are doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what you are doing in creativity. That's what you are taking responsibility. So all those become the milestone points, touch points, which say that you are moving ahead. That's what we are doing in Unified also, if you really think about it.
Saying sorry, like without our knowledge, we did anything wrong to others.
So you are
we
putting
say,
an end to that thought pattern. That pattern is getting released.
Asking for forgiveness, it
Correct.
releases.
Correct.
It's
The
also
spirit
like, food gambling, because between the farmer and the end consumer, there are all these middle marketeers who act as a brokers, gamble with food. The increasing or decreasing the prices as per their own reasons.
He has just taken one example there. But what you are saying is right. Basically, using that example is not only for food, it's applicable
for anything. Yeah, because he
exactly.
mentioned here food, I'm just giving that as an example.
Correct.
But one reason that what we have to do before we eating food, that's why we may have to energize with loving energies or what so we can neutralize
in our I don't know which this one, you have that sloka, right? Aham Vaishwana Bhutva.
Yeah.
Vaishwanaro Bhutva.
Yeah.
Right.
Before
So what are you doing there? Just think.
Yeah, I mean that's what we usually in the prokshiptam Telugulo man prokshiptam antam kadandi. The purpose of it is to balance all those
instead of aligning with the flow of that energy, that thought in the mind, all you are doing it has become a ritual.
Yes.
See,
unfortunately.
You don't have, you'll say, Aham Vaishwanaro, you still not put ghee in my rice, and then you continue. Right? That way, that is how it has become today. And then you come and say, see, I am putting all the slokas I am saying as I have been taught. Why I am not getting the effect? Where is the feel?
Because we don't know the meaning of it.
Exactly.
That feeling. See, when you know the meaning, then you feel it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
The
let's
spirit of gambling is an entity without definite form.
Hmm.
See, that is an entity itself, an energy without a definite form.
Hmm.
It is nefarious. What is nefarious? I don't know. It is a nefarious.
It is nefarious
Ill,
activity means it has got an ill destination. It is wishing the ill.
ill,
Greed, a sort
ill.
of greed. Yeah.
It is a nefarious thing which likes intoxication and gets it through its adherents.
Hmm.
It is a god, though its religion has no recognized dogmas, rites, and symbols. That is the god. He is talking about gambling.
Hmm.
Yeah. It has a fraternity which supports and worships it. The
Hmm.
members recognize each other through that god which is in them and whose worship is their psychic destiny. What god he is talking about? Why he
He
says
has
god?
given it the name of a god. That energy he is calling God.
Hmm. The members recognize each other through that god which is in them and whose worship is their
Gambling is
psychic
the god
destiny.
here. The act of gambling is the god.
That's what I don't know why he calls him God. Yeah. Their worship is often more devoted than the lip service paid to the other gods who have a regular religious system. That means they all think about that and all their actions and thinking. Yeah.
So for
This gambling god,
gambling also, you will create one god.
this gambling god is created and nourished by the greed and selfishness of men.
So what he is saying is that addiction, it becomes God. You will pray. You will
Craving.
have right? That is why you have so many gods. So basically, he is giving the pattern the name of a god.
Mm-hmm. That's why he calls this gambling god is created and nourished by the greed and selfishness of man.
So those become the nature qualities that you are going to assign to that god. He is going to gift you that winning streak.
Same thing with the horse races and all this. Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, that is the pattern, right? The pattern which has
Yeah.
got energies, which is greed and selfishness,
Correct.
right? So
The
that
desire, the desire to be drunk is one of the worst and deadliest of psychic forces. Though alcohol belongs to the world and the process of physical nature, there works through it an entity, a spirit which does not belong to the present period, is an enemy to the doer and to the intelligence, and can reach the doer only through alcohol when the doer is in the body. So it is an enemy, reaches through the alcohol to the body.
correct.
It cannot reach the intelligences, but is a death to the doers.
Mm.
It can affect an intelligence only insofar as it suspends the progress of the doer. So it suspends the progress of the doer also by preventing the re-existing portion from continuing its orderly return to earth life. Wow. So it prevents the re-existing portion from continuing its orderly return to earth life. It hinders the intelligence. It hinders the intelligence in the help that it would give to the doer. So these are all the bad things, things happen. Temperate drinking of wine and other intoxicants does not immediately in itself harm the drinker. Oh, I see. So once in a while drinking, wine intoxicants does not immediately in itself harm the drinker.
Yeah.
In no case or does it or can benefit the doer, though an alcoholic drink may stimulate the body in a crisis. But even then, other stimulants might serve as well. Alcoholic drinks are not necessary for the maintenance of health. See, these all the doctors say wine is good for health, for the heart.
See,
Wine is
we don't
desired.
know what is the reason he is saying that. Is the trigger coming for some other gambling? Or the arrangement that he has with the wine distributor who is down the road? Yeah.
As long as it doesn't become an addiction.
Hmm.
Wine is desired for its taste and aroma, and for the psychic effect it has of magnifying and intensifying sensation.
Hmm.
Temperate drinking mingles the psychic atmospheres and produces a sort of geniality. What is this? Geniality.
It becomes a pattern. It's a repeatable pattern.
Okay. It is difficult to draw the line at temperate drinking without control, of course. When there is no sense control, it is difficult to draw the line at temperate drinking. At social gatherings, this line is crossed, else the drinkers would not be convivial. People who drink lightly now and then or who regularly take a limited allowance may not become actual and habitual drunkards. From life to life, the tendency is to increase the sensations which alcohol produces. In time, as the liking of the doer for drink becomes stronger, the entity that works through alcohol as the enemy of every human may claim the doer. So eventually in the next generation, it may become
No,
more
when
and
he
more.
claims the doer, it becomes an addiction and then starts working on him negatively. Yeah.
In the following life, the breath form bears the mark of this spirit. This spirit breaks down the physical health and
Now, just extend this line through your imagination too. How and why is it that past life regression works?
so they are cutting off that mark.
That pattern you are recognizing today in this life, you know that it is wrong.
Yeah.
So you will release that energy from the and heal yourself accordingly. I didn't know this.
So
It is so deep.
is a pattern from the breath form.
Right? Thinking and destiny is really so deep. It is going that deep. Huh? Amazed.
Yeah.
I'm really amazed. Yeah.
This spirit breakdown, physical health and moral restraint opens the barriers between the four states of physical matter and lets in the play of emotional currents and elemental beings. So it also affects physical health and moral restraint. Opens the barriers between the four states of physical matter. So that is the four elementals.
Exactly. Elements and elementals, both.
Yeah, and lets the play of emotional currents and elemental beings.
Correct.
Not overcome the bondage, it becomes even more pronounced until in some life, what was once a temperate drinker may be a periodic or habitual drunkard.
That is how he goes through his learning process.
At some time, the doer must conquer or be conquered. If the doer loses, the human is lost and cut off from the light of intelligence. The history of doers, if it were ever written, would show that more doers have failed through the spirit of alcohol than bodies were ever slain in all the battles of the world. Oh my God. So because of that alcohol, more and more doer bodies got spoiled.
We'll stop here. It's a logical stop because gloom is. No, I think we can do gloom.
Gloom. Gloom is a psychic state, a state of feeling and of unsatisfied desires. It is not a state created in the present, but comes from the past. It was there, created by brooding over unsuccessful attempts to satisfy a desire without understanding the reason for the lack of success. Very well said in this sentence.
So now this is trying to give me the comfort that the psychic environment is your Akashic record then?
It was there, created by brooding over unsuccessful attempts to satisfy a desire without understanding the reason for the lack of success. A
Correct.
person busy in attempts to satisfy an appetite has no chance to brood. No
Yeah.
matter what other troubles he will get into, if he keeps busy, he will keep away glow. So keeping busy, because that is the idle man's work, mind is, yeah, workshop of devil.
Today
At
morning,
any period,
I was listening to something on YouTube. It says how to
yeah,
overcome depression.
correct.
Okay. So he
At
said,
any period,
get busy. Suppose you are feeling depressed. Something that is to happen is not happening. Go have a feast. Right? So you are countering yourself with positive energies instead of feeling gloomy. So have one
correct.
way of expressing or doing away with those negative energies. That's a good suggestion, I think. Yeah.
A, a person busy with attempts to satisfy an appetite has no chance to brood. No matter what other trouble he will get into, if he keeps busy, he will keep away gloom. At any period in the present, when he is disappointed or depressed by acts or events, his gloom comes over him and envelops him. Gloom overtakes a person in cyclic periods. If he welcomes it, brood over the present, and feels dissatisfied, that feeling feeds and adds to the gloom, which becomes ever deeper and its cycle more frequent. Becomes a cycle. Finally, gloom is always with him. Some people may even enjoy it as a steady companion, but this cannot last. The accumulation of gloom and an undefined, indistinct feeling will lead to a tangible and definite despondency and despair. The
Correct.
cure for gloom is resolution and action. Desire cannot be satisfied or put down or killed, but it can be changed. It can be changed only by thinking. The best way to dissipate gloom is to inquire into it and try to see how and why it came. So, inquiring. This very inquiry will tend to drive it away, and it is at once weakened by resolution and action. At each return of the gloom, its forces will be lessened if it is so met. Finally, this treatment will dissipate it.
Correct. So this becomes the approach to overcoming gloom.
This is all the psychiatrists probably they will do.
I think we will stop here because it will become heavy. Okay. We'll stop here and maybe 10-15 minutes, a little bit of a gossip.
So he's saying alcohol, even if you take once in a while, when you cannot control in the next birth also, the pattern will be there.
Pattern will be there because it is getting impressed in your AIA. It has inhibited your learnings.
Hmm.
You have taken a lesson, you have not completed that lesson. Right? Now, the pattern of why you did not complete is going to be there. You have not completed the lesson, and the reason why it has not been completed is because of you are not focusing on it. So that pattern will be there, within which this energy is already blocked and positioned in AIA.
Correct.
Question.
Because in Western country,
Yeah.
it is like water they take. They drink like regularly, with a meal. I don't understand. I don't know.
They don't realize that they have become addicted to it.
Mm. Especially in French, like in France, I heard,
Yeah, it is cheaper
Yes.
than by France, Belgium also. You go to Europe, most of Europe, in Germany,
Yeah.
water is more expensive than beer.
So when I came to US, I used to
Mm.
make this quote. US is a country where Coke is costlier than the petrol and the water is costlier than the Coke.
Correct. See,
Correct.
these are there. I mean, whether we accept or we don't, these are all very common entities.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the repercussions are too many. Anyway, the today's topic, I found it quite interesting. So, sir,
So,
for people who are doing the work on Arshad Vargas, this chapter is a must.
Yeah.
so the part I missed when I joined, you covered some points. So those points are
Basically, how it becomes, what are your customs, your habits, and all, those are again patterns. He's sticking
patterns,
to the same definition and showing us multiple manifestations of this.
how they form into the psychic destiny.
Correct.
So, sir, when it is a pattern, then you don't attach any negative emotion to what you are doing.
To the experience you attach.
Huh?
The pattern influences your experience, and to the experience we attach. What is
And to
experience?
the
Is again a pattern.
uh,
Think at the foundation level. What is
Mhm.
expression? Expression is a pattern
Mm.
which you have experienced earlier.
Okay.
experience, earlier experience becomes a pattern.
Correct. Otherwise, you are creating the pattern. By making that mistake, you are creating
Yeah.
a pattern. And when you are finished with the outcome, that becomes an
Mm.
identified pattern. Then you will repeat.
Mhm.
See, people who are used to eat meat regularly, after knowing that it is not good, violence is not good, and we should become a non-violent person. When they have the knowledge, they stop. That becomes their
Mm.
habit, their experience.
Correct.
And that becomes a pattern, and they continue. And
Yeah.
that influences the family members also.
Yeah. And that is my question. Before actually knowing that, they don't have any remorse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go by the enjoyment till the enjoyment starts getting into that.
The same way alcohol and meat, all these are all similar way. It forms a
Alcohol,
pattern.
meat, smoking, right?
Yeah.
All these are like that.
Similar.
Pattern, same process.
But
Mm.
those patterns, when they manifest as affecting them in a negative way, then there is a chance for them to realize.
Yeah.
May or may not even at that time. It all depends.
It can be their experience or someone else's experience which is becoming the dissuader.
Yes.
Agreed.